AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue.
Greg Gutfeld just stormed onto the stage with a verbal flamethrower and aimed it straight at AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the self-crowned queen of viral sound bites and political theater, but this time she's not delivering the speech, she's taking the loss, and the internet can't believe it. What Greg just dropped isn't your average political takedown, it's part comedy roast, part chaos, and 100% career-threatening. Every line hits harder than the last, leaving people laughing, gasping, and glued to their screens waiting to see how AOC tries to spin her way out of this one.
There is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this. The Republican caucus threatened my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation.
If you're into this, make sure to subscribe. It helps more than you think. Greg Gutfeld calling out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't even feel like politics anymore. It's pure comedy with a headline attached. Let's be real, AOC walks around Capitol Hill like she's the star of Congress's own Marvel movie. No cape, just confidence and the perfect Instagram filter every time.
Gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we...
She's out here promising to save the planet, end poverty, fix inequality, and probably teach your cat yoga before brunch, and then Gutfeld strolls and looks at her speeches and says, this isn't politics, this is open mic night, and I just brought the mic drop.
I love how she explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper white middle class liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a test.
The funniest part is how predictable it's become. AOC storms in like the fearless hero of the working class, shouting dreams of rooftop gardens and free everything, while Gutfeld slides in like that sarcastic uncle at Thanksgiving, ready to roast every grand plan before dessert.
Think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from? Trump. The only way they're going to create a message is based on whatever Trump does. So I have some slogans for the Democrat Party.
Oh, wow.
The Democrat Party, when you're tired of success.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, make America suck again. Democrat Party, the first choice for illegals, vandals, and dead people.
Greg doesn't hit her with charts or policy talk. He grabs her whole performance, spins it like pizza dough, and tosses it straight into the comedy oven. Suddenly, her billion-dollar plans sound less like leadership and more like a teenager maxing out a credit card at Sephora. But here's the twist. It's not just jokes, it's exposure. When Greg breaks her down, he's not mocking for laughs. He's exposing the contradictions that make her both the internet's favorite activist and Congress's biggest content creator. She rails against capitalism while live streaming in designer hoodies, sipping kombucha that costs more than dinner for a family of 4. Greg doesn't just roast her ideas, he calls out how her real victories happen online, not in the chamber. To him, her TikToks look less like government work and more like performance art, complete with ring lights, scripted outrage, and fans hyping her up like she's headlining Coachella. And when Greg says it out loud, it hits hard, because maybe, just maybe, she's more influencer than lawmaker.
She owns a French bulldog. Thanks to Cat Temp, I know everything about French bulldogs. And one thing I know,
I got a French bulldog.
They are so expensive. They're more expensive than any college tuition. That you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs. But she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, Sell the dog. I'll buy it.
And the receipts, oh, Greg's got stacks of them. He loves pointing out that AOC's pride and joy, the Green New Deal, isn't a plan, it's a Pinterest board of political dreams, free healthcare, free college, guaranteed jobs, maybe even free puppies if you hang around long enough. But here's the catch: who's paying for all this? AOC waves a hand at billionaires and corporations like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, while Greg just laughs, reminding her that math is still a thing, and suddenly that utopia starts to look less like progress and more like your broke cousin's Venmo request. Heartfelt, ambitious, but totally delusional. Sure, it sounds inspiring until you realize the whole thing's built with the stability of IKEA furniture, missing half the screws. And that's where the comedy hits hardest. Conservatives treat Greg's punchlines like scripture, clipping every joke like it's gospel, while progressives rush to defend her like she's guarding Earth's final shield from extinction, waving off Greg's roast as if the problem isn't her policy, it's his punchline.
AOC has taken a break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. To be fair,
and right in the middle of it all, regular folks can't stop laughing, because let's be real, watching Gutfeld versus AOC is funnier than half the comedies on Netflix. But behind those laughs there's a sting, because Greg isn't just cracking jokes, he's cutting deep. Comedy has always been the sharpest weapon in politics, and Greg swings it like a sword. He's not mocking her ideas for fun, he's exposing the packaging, the filters, the slogans that shine online but crumble in reality. He shows how her tweets sparkle like campaign glitter until you try building a nation on them, and that's where it burns, not because it's cruel but because it's real. His whole bit works because he says what everyone's thinking out loud: is this Congress or the TikTok house? And the timing couldn't be better. Politics has turned into showbiz. AOC plays the influencer, Greg plays the critic, and together they've turned Capitol Hill into a live roast where every laugh hits a little too close to home.
to be fair, she'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full of.
When Greg tears into her economic math, he's not just chasing laughs, he's exposing how shaky and shallow some of AOC's boldest ideas really are. When he mocks her working class image, he's peeling back the mask, showing the gap between the story she sells and the life she lives. And when he takes aim at her Instagram activism, he's spotlighting how politics today has turned into theater where the drama matters more than the details. Then comes the fallout. AOC never walks away from a fight, she fires back on Twitter every time, and every clapback just gives Greg more ammo. It's a loop that never ends. She speaks, he mocks, she reacts, he roasts the reaction. It's political ping pong and the crowd eats it up. But behind the laughter, Greg's message hits hard. Politics isn't about what sounds inspiring, it's about what actually works. And if your dream world collapses the moment someone asks how you'll pay for it, maybe it was never a plan at all. Maybe it was just a really good tweet.
I mean, first of all, $80 per theater. I've made $80 in a theater, and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. It's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's mag.
That's why Greg's takedowns land the way they do. They're not just jokes, they're jolts. They cut straight through the noise of feel-good speeches and viral theatrics and hit the soft spots underneath. People can't look away because deep down they're tired of being sold fairy tales with no receipts. Greg just wraps that truth in a punchline and drops it. By the time the dust clears, AOC's brand might still stand. She feeds on attention no matter the flavor, but once you've seen the curtain pulled back, you can't unsee it. That's the real exposure, not one viral roast, but the slow unraveling of the performance itself. Greg rips off the polished magazine cover version of AOC and shows the raw frame behind it, and when you realize her power runs more on performance than policy, the whole act starts feeling less like leadership and more like theater. Funny, yes, but also just a little unsettling.
It's funny, that's mean. You're
right,
mean. You're being mean.
But I'm fascinated they thought there was an audience for this outside of Earth Justice or the Justice Democrats, because who really wanted to go and see this thing? And then tomorrow you'll have an article that we'll have to talk about, which is that kids all over America are having nightmares about climate change. Well, no wonder.
Well, Jessica, what about the fact that the climate activists are very much, they're very much enthused about what they do.
And if this is just round one of Greg versus AOC, imagine what's coming, because neither side is slowing down. Greg Gutfeld versus AOC isn't a moment, it's a series. Every time she posts, speaks, or even exhales too loud on Capitol Hill, Greg's right there, pen in hand, ready to turn it into primetime material. At this point, it doesn't even feel like politics anymore. It's improv comedy with a federal budget. Her working class warrior act plays like Rosie the Riveter with a ring light, fists up to fight the billionaires while quietly living the influencer life, and the exposure hits like realizing your gym membership's been charging you for years and you've never even laced your sneakers. Funny, but also a little painful. Then there's her climate crusader phase, where she treats climate change like the ultimate Marvel villain and herself as the only hero who can stop it. The Green New Deal becomes her infinity gauntlet. One snap and poof, no carbon, no crisis. Planes run on positivity, and every apartment in America gets a makeover like it's HGTV meets Utopia.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better love it.
Gutfeld just stares at all of it like cool dream, but who's paying for it? Selling merch. Suddenly her grand vision stops sounding like policy and starts sounding like a Kickstarter pitch with bonus goals to end poverty and hand out unicorns. That's Greg's genius. He doesn't debate like a politician. He destroys like a comic. He doesn't say the math doesn't add up. He says this math belongs on a cocktail napkin after 2 margaritas. He doesn't say this proposal lacks detail. He says this proposal has the same detail as a toddler's drawing of a house, and that's why his takedowns go viral. They stick in your head like a joke you can't unhear. Her fans might swoon, but Greg just grins and keeps turning it into comedy fuel. It's like trying to win a water balloon fight against a guy holding a flamethrower. She's got passion, he's got fire, and the best part, the media can't help but feed it. Progressive outlets rush to defend her, calling Greg unfair, dismissive, whatever, only making his roast burn hotter.
Delightful dancing video from last week. The media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around her in which any criticism must be due to sexism or bigotry, when in fact it's in their heads and not ours. But this strategy works by preventing real criticism about her actual beliefs, which are retreads of horrible ideas from previous centuries. Socialism with a smile, fascism among friends, Venezuela meets vegan.
Meanwhile, conservative outlets are blasting Greg's punchlines like national slogans, turning them into memes and bumper stickers, while everyone else grabs popcorn watching what feels like the weirdest buddy comedy ever. One plays the activist turned influencer, the other the sarcastic late-night uncle, and somehow together they've built a show more entertaining than anything Netflix could script. But here's the twist, it's not just laughs, it's reflection, because every roast, every meme, every viral clip chips away at the illusion. AOC thrives on attention. Sure, it keeps her trending, but once the spotlight starts exposing instead of flattering, the magic fades, and that's why Greg's jokes hit harder than they seem. They're not just punchlines, they're political truth bombs wrapped in laughter. They remind everyone that hashtags aren't policies, followers aren't votes, and passion without plans doesn't pay for anything. And maybe, just maybe, they remind AOC that being the star of the internet isn't the same as being the star of Congress.
YouGov poll says AOC has 61% approval rating for Democrats, right? The highest of any Democrat unless they've been elected president. So if your new brand ambassador is going to be AOC, then I think it's more than just the messaging and the branding.
So by now you heard that AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs, as she did surrender without fight.
But here's the twist, AOC isn't changing, not now, not ever. The drama, the flair, the marathon Instagram lives, that's her entire brand. Take that away. And there's no show left in Gutfeld. He's not letting go either, because without her, his roast sessions lose their favorite target. It's the weirdest kind of political partnership. She supplies the content, he supplies the comedy, and together they keep the circus spinning while the rest of us just sit back and laugh. So buckle up, because this ride's not Ending anytime soon. Every new bill, every viral rant, every teary speech is just another episode waiting for Greg to turn into late-night gold. And if you thought this round was savage, wait for the sequel, because if AOC is the influencer-in-chief, then Greg Gutfeld is the heckler who owns the mic, and in this wild comedy club called Washington, the lights never dim, the crowd never sleeps, and the roast never ends.